Now, before we start, I want you to ask you all a favor. I want you to close your eyes for a little bit. And I want you to imagine the best possible version of yourself. Imagine yourself in your dream career, maybe living in your dream house, being with your dream partner. I want you to feel that person. What does it look like? What are they doing? How are they feeling? Now, before you open your eyes, I want you to imagine everything that could have been. Imagine that one company never existed, that one idea never came out, that one version of yourself never existed. Now, what if I tell you it's very easy for you to become this person, and there's simply one thing stopping you, and that is fear. Now, all of you can open your eyes again. Now, us as university students live in a world full of fear. We're afraid of the future. We're afraid of choosing the wrong path. We're afraid that maybe we won't get our dream internship. Maybe we fail at class. Maybe what we expect life to be won't happen. As students, we're told you have your entire future ahead of you. You can decide what to do right now. But to be truthful, we really don't know what we're doing. So we're afraid anything we do can lead to a mistake. And that's why we don't act on it. We're afraid that we won't be able to make it. Now, if we constantly spend our life analyzing what could go right and what could go wrong, we spend our life analyzing, thinking, you're not living it. Part of life is putting yourself out there. Part of life is experiencing. Part of life is failing. Now, it's easy for me to talk about fear, but it's not really easy to act on it. Fear really demonstrates an impact on society. According to a LinkedIn survey, 70% of students don't even apply to their internship because they're afraid they won't meet at least 100% of qualification. Not because lack of talent or lack of opportunity, simply because they were afraid. Now, an American psychology student showed that 60% of young adults don't even pursue their goals because they're afraid of failure. How fair is that? Imagine everything we can have in this life, but simply they were too afraid to do it. Now, I feel hypocritical a little bit talking about fear, because fear is a theme in my life. All my life, I've been afraid of the future. I've been afraid of choosing the wrong path. If you ask my friends that are somewhere in the crowd, they can tell you I'm the most undecisive person ever on this earth. I don't even know what to have for breakfast. But what I have been learning as an economics student is that with every outcome I make, every decision, there's 1,000 million consequences. Things can go this way or that way. So one day I started thinking to myself, what is the worst thing that could happen if I do this? And I realized the outcome is really not that bad. Coming to the stage, I was afraid maybe I fail, maybe I was paralyzed. Well, if I fell, maybe my friends laugh. But life keeps going. I get up, I wake up, and tomorrow there'll be a new day. Now, this perspective, living life this way, opened up a world of opportunities for me. Whenever I feel that fear, I started thinking, wait, Sofia, maybe you're onto something. Suddenly, I started to make connections worldwide. I started applying to jobs. I'm now talking to mentors in my dream career. Not because I was afraid, but because I kept acting despite of fear. Now, this perspective I did not get in myself. I got it from a man in this room, which is my dad. When he was my age, 19, he did not get accepted into journalism, which was his dream career. Instead of freezing and paralyzing, he suddenly decided to move to Colombia, Bogota, without a plan on what to do or without knowing anyone. He worked there for a year moving boxes. Imagine this guy, a 180 centimeter Spanish guy, moving boxes in Colombia. Now he realized this was not sustainable, so he thought to himself, what is the easiest way to get a career? So he decided to become a pilot. Not an airplane pilot, but a helicopter one, because there was not demand for that in Colombia. He became pilot 484. We have to keep in mind that during this time, Colombia was very dangerous. This was the time of Pablo Escobar. It was the 90s, the guerrillas. During his time in Colombia, he lost 3 friends due to war, due to violence, and due to drugs. He started working for a company that got hired by the Colombian military. And he had to transport military from point A into point B. he had to transport injured military into the aircraft and outside. Every time he walked the street of Colombia, he feared it would be the last time. Every time he stepped in the helicopter, he feared he would never see the ground again. Now, my dad lived in constant fear, but he kept going before that, because he truly believed that there was something greater out there. He had this perspective of life where he was grateful for every opportunity that he had. He had an accident and he was in a coma for 3 months. He could have simply go back to Spain and start flying, but he kept going. And then 1 year, he moved to Ecuador, met my mom, and is the reason I'm standing on the stage today. Because my dad was afraid, but he really pursued that the world is alive to live in, a world full of opportunities, and we have to act in spite of fear. Now, before I keep going on, I want to explain to you how fear actually works. Our brain is our biggest enemy. And in the back of the brain, we have something called the amygdala. The amygdala basically activates whenever it presents danger. It activates with lack of control, uncertainty, and attention. So back then, whenever we face fear, our brain would tell us, run the other way. Absolutely perfect. But as society has evolved, it kind of presents itself in social situations. So whenever we're in front of someone, we face lack of attention, lack of control, attention, and uncertainty. So we simply paralyze. But we also have something in our brain called the prefrontal cortex. And this is the growth aspect of us, the decision making. So whenever we feel that fear, I wanted you to think to yourself, I feel, for example, pressuring myself here whenever I feel fear. And I want you to think back, well, maybe this is my brain telling me that I'm onto something. Maybe it's the way that I can grow to pursue something. And I want you to act on it. Actually, a fun fact is the amygdala is why we procrastinate. Our brain is rather be comfortable right now than be suffering. So that's the reason why we leave tasks to last moment. The reason why you don't want to write that essay or want to submit that application is because we're afraid that maybe it's not the right thing. But actually, it's because you're onto something. Now, it's easy to talk about fear, especially as we're facing on a day-to-day basis. But there's fears that are far more worse than ours. There's people out there in the world that fear that will not have food tomorrow. They won't have enough water. They fear that their family will not make it back to them. Now, those are true fears. Honestly, the fears we face are opportunities in life. Here as Bentley students, or as privileged people, we do have many opportunities. We have the opportunities to change the world. And we can do this if we act in spite of fear. I want you to go back when I ask you to close your eyes and think of that best possible version of yourself. Well, you can achieve that person. I want you to go back home today and think of all the tasks you procrastinate and think of the reason why you're not doing it. Think if you're afraid of doing it, it's because you're going to achieve something. You have the capability of changing the world if you just simply stop acting and stop thinking and simply put yourself out there in spite of fear. Thank you so much.